This is Neil from Clutch, and you need to put your horns up.
Bang, 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 bang! Vamonos, vamonos! Bang, bang, bang! Vamonos, vamonos!
Last interview said, last show of 2011 for Hornstar Rocks, and who better to have in town than Clutch? And here with Neil. Welcome to the Starland Ballroom here in New Jersey.
Thank you very much.
You kind of look like you've had enough shows, but hey, man, I appreciate that what you do for your fans and for the music that you love, for sacrificing the holidays and coming out on the road with two amazing bands, Corrosion, Conformity, and Kyng. So tell us a little bit about how this whole holiday show concept came about.
I think a lot of bands do this kind of run that we do, which is the day after Christmas and then leading up to a New Year's show. It's a good time, a year to do shows because a lot of people are home for the holidays. They may not be working as much. And people are kind of in general more of a cut loose mode than they are in, let's say, August. But it's always fun, and it's nice to do it in this part of the world because we can drive home the next day and not have a long travel day or two ahead of us.
And why Corrosion, Conformity, and why Kyng? What was about those two bands that you were like, all right, let's bring those guys with us?
Well, we had never played with Kyng before, but they're a great band, great live band. And COC we've played with many times, over the years, over 10 or more. And we did a run with this current incarnation of COC earlier this year, and worked out really well. And they're good friends of ours too, which always makes touring a lot easier when you can get along with the other bands.
And of course, you were saying before, when you get home, you're gonna get finally some very needed rest. But of course, 2012 is gonna be pretty busy for you guys once again. Is there anything that you can announce right now as far as new album titles or tracks that you have in the works, anything like that?
Well, we're working on the new record slowly. We're taking our time with it. There's no rush. We'll play a couple songs tonight. They're working titles. They will most likely change. One's called Puerta Abierta, and the other one's called Newt. But what they actually end up being is I couldn't tell you right now.
As far as the recording process and the producers that you're working with for this album, does it vary a lot from what you've done previously, or you feel like you kind of have a good grip in what you've been doing, so you're going to kind of go for the same flow of things?
Well, as far as writing the record, I think we've become much more adept at recording. We record in JP's basement. But the finished product, I think it's important to kind of turn over to someone who can. I always call it like you rent a dictator for a little bit, because we're a very democratic band, and the bad side of that is you can just talk about stuff and never get anything done, and sometimes you need a separate set of ears to be objective about stuff. But I think we've become much more educated on recording in general, and which makes the studio easier. I used to hate going into it, and I'm still trying to like it more. I mean, for us, we're much more comfortable on stage.
Is it kind of like you plug and play and start recording, or you rehearse beforehand and then go and try to see what comes out?
Hopefully we record it. Sometimes we forget to hit the red button. But we don't really rehearse too much. We don't, other than just trying to write new riffs. And when we get something that sounds roughly like a composition, we'll record it and then wait for me to write lyrics, which is usually a very long wait because I'm terribly slow at that. But we write more music than I could ever possibly write lyrics to. And half the battle is just picking through all the riffs.
And lyrically speaking, I mean, what do you find your different thoughts and ideas from? Do you write a lot when you're on the road? Is it more like when you get home, you kind of say, okay, I gotta, get some lyrics out because we have to work on a record?
I don't do much on the road. The days are usually spent just seeking out quiet, and after a show, I don't feel like listening to my own band again. But I have to be at home in my basement, and I have to have very kind of 2-3 dedicated hours of, pulling my hair out. And sometimes a song will write itself like that. Other times it takes many tries. But I kind of have to have a very dedicated time, focused to get anything done. Otherwise, nothing happens.
So you pretty much kind of shut everything out and then find your inspiration then? Because I know some artists have, like, let's say a movie running, or they have something going on apart from what they're doing right there and then.
I find a lot of times to get inspired, you have to kind of step away from it for a while and just live life. And a lot of times, the best stuff just kind of pops into your head when you least expect it, when you're sitting at a red light or you're at the grocery store. Then hopefully you can write it down, or, you know, leave a message on your answering machine. And, you know, and other times, I think it's writing lyrics. I love it, but it's also one of the most frustrating things in the world, because you can the possibility of saying anything can be pretty daunting.
Especially with Clutch, you have a certain theme and message upon the band. You know, everybody knows Clutch because of a certain lyrical component and obviously the music behind it. So I think that also adds extra pressure. I'm pretty sure when you started out, it was a little easier because there wasn't that much pressure of kind of like, all right, this is what we have to give the Clutch fans.
Yeah, well, when you're first starting out, it's a blank slate, and then you kind of develop your style. For me, at least right now, I don't want to repeat myself. It's very easy to fall on lyrical habits and musical habits and familiar territory, and it's tough to kind of break away from that. So that's a struggle, but I think it's important to do that and take risks. You know, if it's an unfamiliar theme or approach, a lot of times people kind of scratch their heads at first and say, well, what is this person doing? Why is that person doing that? And eventually, you know, learn to like it or not. And if they don't, fuck them.
And as far as the new release, I mean, are you gonna like premiere a few songs like within the first part of 2012, or are you gonna wait for the whole album to kind of hit people and then, you know, go from there?
We'll play some songs tonight. We've been playing 2 or 3 songs every night. Just the couple that we've written over the past couple months. And but after tonight, we're not going to be doing a whole lot of touring in the U.S. We've got Thin Lizzy in the U.K. in February, and then we might do a small run in springtime. But this summer is going to be spent probably in Europe and writing the record here in the States. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's been a while since we've had a new record, but like I said, we're not in a rush. There's no deadline.
So whether it comes out this year or not, you can't really know until you go into the process, and then you say, okay, the label can pick a date and then go from there?
Yeah, well, we pick the date because we are the label. So we're anxious ourselves to get the new music out there because it's more fresh for us, as I'm sure it is for the fans. But at the same time, we want to do it right. And we'd rather be in a position of having 20 songs and pick the best 12 than have 10 songs and just hurry write 2 more and then you have a record, which we've had both those scenarios in our careers. And it's much better to have a surplus and to play those songs live over and over and over again and then record it. When you write stuff in the studio before ever playing it live, 9 times out of 10, you regret your decisions in the studio, or at least composition-wise. And the stage is the best laboratory for a song, I think.
All right, yeah, I want to thank you very much, not only for the interview, but for coming again to visit our ears, because it's always good to have Clutch in town. I want to wish you the best of luck next year, and obviously congratulations on all the success of this year and the previous years, because, you know, since you started, you've been doing things, I wouldn't say necessarily the right way, because there's not a right path in music, but definitely an original and cool way. So I want to thank you for that on behalf of all the fans. And since they're watching now, what do you have to say to them right now?